What's up, gamers? The hunt for the perfect mobile gaming controller continues, but could it finally be over? Well, this is the EasySMX M15 and I can't wait to tell you all about it, so let's get into it. And here it is, the EasySMX M15. This is a brand new controller from the company. And I want you to know that EasySMX did send this unit over for a review, but all my thoughts are my own and no money exchanged hands. Now, this is the third mobile gaming controller from EasySMX that I have tested. I've tested the M10, the M05, and now the M15, and I have to say, this is the best of all three. It's also the most expensive of all three and the largest, so if portability is your thing, then I don't know, this one might be a little bit on the larger side for you. And I say it's the priciest, but really it's only $10 more. It comes in at a retail price of $59.99, while the M10 is $49.99 and is much smaller and more compact. I do really like the M10 and the M05, but this one, well, let's just go through what makes this one the best. For starters, we have Hall effect sticks, and these are full-size sticks, which I love. They have a great pivot to them, lots of movement, they're very smooth to use. Not only do you have a full range of motion with these sticks, but my thumbs don't slip off of them either because of its design. It's very much reminiscent of the PlayStation 5 sticks, actually. How it's indented in the middle, but it has this textured outer ring. It feels really good to your thumbs. I haven't had any problems with my thumbs slipping off of these. We also have Hall effect triggers back here. I will say that the trigger, when it pops back up, it is a little bit loud. I wish there was some padding here on the underside of this so that when it came back up it wasn't so loud, but they do feel really nice when you press in on them. I also have these bumpers. The bumpers are maybe a little bit on the loud side too, but it's not too bad. Now I do want to talk about these buttons and the D-pad. If you've watched my channel much, you know that I really prefer my buttons to be as quiet as possible. I like to play discreetly. I like to be able to play wherever and not annoy anybody. And these buttons are micro switch buttons, and so they do have a click. But here's what they've done. They have a silicone pad between the button and the micro switch. And what that does is it actually softens that click quite a bit. It also makes it feel different. It almost feels like a rubber membrane button, except for that click. But the click is nice, and all four of these feel exactly the same. And the more I've played with this, the more I've gotten used to it, and the more I'm finding that I actually do really like these buttons. And the D-pad's really nice too. You can really tell when you've pressed down, there's no mistaking it because you can feel that click, but it has a nice soft pivot to it as well, and you can really tell which direction you're going in, even for diagonals. I like that a lot. And then of course this does have these special back paddle buttons here that you can program for whatever you need them for. We also have some really nice texture on the grips. Now, this isn't rubberized, it is hard plastic, but it's just nice to see that. I feel like it helps your hands not get so sweaty when you're holding this. The springs that hold your phone in place have a good tension to them, and I do want to draw your attention to this sticker right here because it tells you how to switch modes. We have all of this rubber padding in here too. It's very premium, very soft, and I've had no problems fitting my phone in here and it being nice and secure. Speaking of phones, something that people always ask me is what phones does this work with? It will work with pretty much any modern phone that has a USB-C port. So your iPhone 15 line, your Google Pixel line, your Samsung Galaxy S's and Samsung Galaxy Notes, and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip will actually fit in here as well as many other Android devices that have a USB-C port. Also, this stretches to 176 millimeters wide, and so this is the widest of all of their mobile controller line. So I really don't think there's any phone that won't fit in this. This is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it just slides right in there with room to spare. Now, one thing I will say is that I don't have my case on right now. I do have to take my case off still, but I want you to look at this actually. Right here, these rubber parts right here are not attached to this back part. If you wanted to keep your case on, and I did this with my M05 after my review because I noticed this, that they're not attached right there. So I actually just peeled these off, and now I can fit my case in the M05. Before, I don't have that thick of a case, but this doesn't set down into the USB-C port well enough with the case on for it to actually connect to the controller. So I do have to take it off for this to connect, but once those rubber pieces are out of the way, you can leave the case on and it does connect to the phone. but I haven't decided if I want to do that with this one yet, so I left them on for the review. But let's go ahead and try out some stuff here. This will play all kinds of things. You can play emulators with this controller. You can play Xbox Remote Play, Xbox Game Pass, Steam Link. It works with PlayStation Remote Play. You can play natively installed games. You can play games over the cloud. You can play Call of Duty Mobile. And it seems like every time I do a controller review like this, I get somebody in the comments arguing with me about Call of Duty Mobile and how it doesn't work with it. Yes, it does. You just have to enable the controller in the settings. It's a little checkbox. They try to hide it from you. I don't know why, but it's there, at least in the iPhone version. I've heard it's sometimes there in the Android version and sometimes it's not. I don't know why it's inconsistent. I don't have an Android phone to test it on though. All I can say is it works here on the iPhone. Performance-wise though, this is absolutely excellent. Everything responds exactly like it should. It recognizes all of my inputs quickly and accurately, and really just integrates beautifully into whatever system it is that you want to play. Now, one of the problems I had with the M05 was that there was no way to access the home menu. It just didn't have that button, like the PlayStation button or the Xbox button that was dedicated to that feature. And I complained about that in my review to EasySMX, and I was kind of disappointed because the M10 had that feature, and then the M05 came out and it just wasn't there. And they've actually fixed that here. So now if you need to get to the home menu, all you have to do is tap this turbo button and it will pull it right up. And that's fine. That's great. It's not a dedicated button, but there is a button that knows to do that. And so that's all I need. That's all I'm asking for. Part of the whole point of having a game controller for your phone is so that you don't have to use the touchscreen. So don't make me use the touchscreen to get to the home menu. So great job, EasySMX. I appreciate that a lot. And speaking of that turbo button, this does support 4 levels of turbo mode. It also has 6 levels of adjustable vibration, which is pretty unique for a mobile gaming controller. And these Hall effect triggers can be used as analog triggers. So for example, maybe in Forza Horizon 5, you want to use them to give just a little bit of gas or a little more gas or a little bit of brake or whatever. You can do that, but you can also turn these into quick triggers by holding the function button and tapping the left or right trigger. I also want to mention that this is incredibly well balanced in the hand. I cannot tell a perceptible difference at all between the left and the right. It just feels completely well balanced, and I think that that's really important. Another cool thing is that this does have pass-through fast charging through this USB-C port right down here on the bottom. It's even angled out this way so that when your hand's here, you don't push against the cable on that port. And I thought that was really smart of them to put it that way. Now, I try not to do too many comparisons to other products in these reviews, but just for some reference point, this is very much like the GameSir Galileo G8. In fact, probably the highest praise I could give this controller is that I think I would recommend it over the Galileo G8. My personal opinion is that the G8 is probably like this much better in terms of its quality and its feel, but this is $20 cheaper, and I don't think that it's $20 better of a controller, if that makes sense. It's almost exactly the same size, it has a lot of the same features, but for $20 less. So if you're looking for a mobile gaming controller that won't break the bank but will give you a first-class feel, this is probably it. So I think this is a great solution for your mobile gaming needs. So if you're interested, I have affiliate links down in the description below. It does really help out the channel, so I appreciate you using those. And let me know what questions or thoughts you have about the M15 in the comments below. Stay kind and encouraging out there, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.